Hey Plutonian peepers or peepers. I don't know what to call you guys yet. But my video today is going to be on a bit of astrology, but in this case, looking at really building something positive out of it. It's not just like positive, you know what I mean? Like there's not toxic positivity, but it's about the moon at least for today. We'll start with the moon today. So, and the video is actually recorded through a different method. Like I use it on my phone. I went outside and did this. So because it was all curating it. So it's about the moon and water and all that goodness. I'll see you in a bit here. Because that came to me yesterday, and it was just things to be grateful for. And like it's beautiful weather. People don't really like rain, right? So what does that have to do with astrology? Well, first of all, um, rain. It's everywhere. But I kind of reminded of like I guess you can say like clouds because they bring clouds and this is a reminder of um, the moon. So it's like covering, it's enveloping, it's protection, it's nurturing, it's all that stuff, right? So it's motion, it's emotion, it's ups and downs kind of things. Especially with weather, that's kind of like I would say like that's like the moon. Yeah. But the blessings of it is that you get to process things. And a lot of times there are people out there who don't like the like emotions. Like I know that feeling where it's like, I wish I didn't have to feel that much. But you know, when it comes to emotions, when it comes to ups and downs, upheavals of emotions, really, um, there's a lot of opportunity to sit with it. Right? When you go through a lot of emotions, you sit with it. The blessings that come from emotions also means that you are alive. That's one thing for sure. Right? You are alive. You know that you're feeling something. Your body is also sensing things, and you know that that's your source. Your source itself, your essence, is through that. So yeah. So I wanted to clarify that. So whenever you have moon in your chart, if it's strong, whatever placement it's in, I would say like the moon is in any of the houses, specifically like the first house. That's where you feel a lot of your emotions. So your body has a reaction to it. And it's also mother figures, of course. The moon is your, I guess, your connection with how your mother was, or like how I wouldn't say necessarily a relationship, but how that connection is like any sort of motherly figure is kind of like that. So whatever sign it's in. So let's say, um, again, if it's like in Aries, that's a lot of intense emotions, a lot of like, not intense emotions, more like aggressive emotions, kind of those things. When it goes very aggressive, very maybe aggressive, you don't want to look at that. So you want to look at it as like a get go kind of attitude, right? And the moon in Taurus is very much, it's actually exalted in Taurus, so that means it has its own, it benefits from the calmness and the simplicity of Earth like sense perception sort of Taurus. It's very much like into pleasure, all that stuff. Um, and it's like simple things, so your emotions are have a lot to do with also money, have a lot to do with possessions, value. So your emotions it gets triggered a lot when it comes to that. And because Gemini is all about curiosity. Gemini is always about games and curiosity, playful things, knowledge, communication. And when we go into Cancer, that's where it's like really at home, right? It's dignified in Cancer, meaning it's at home. It feels connected with that sign. It's what that means for you is the blessings of all these things from so Aries to Cancer. Let's go with that first because it's like Aries is a cardinal sign. Aries is a character, same with Cancer. So a lot of initiative, a lot of leadership roles, a lot of things that you do, things that are like you take charge kind of things. So um, with the moon in any of those signs, from Aries, Taurus, Gemini to Cancer, it is all about usually like self-development, so things you experience in life, the first things you experience in life. So a lot of the emotions you've been feeling, you've felt are kind of through. So the blessings behind all that is the gift is that to understand where emotions lie in terms of like where um yourself, like how can I kind of digs deep actually into yourself. It's the soul, the sun, the moon also represents your soul. So it's like it's really what your soul kind of really wants to do. It's when I say soul, I don't mean like the grand consciousness of the soul, but it is connected to that. It's like your purpose, why you're here, right? um and if you look into those things, like it kind of makes you realize like, oh, it's not just identity anymore. It's not the sun. It's, the moon is like where you feel more at home and where you feel comfortable, where you just have habits where you can be yourself. Not necessarily in terms of identification. It's not up here. It's down here by the heart. Right. Now going into the other sign, starting from Leo, moon in Leo people, if you have that placement, moon is a lot of it is affected by childlikeness and pride as well. But you want to make sure that when you have moon in Leo, it's not so much getting into like the ego stuff, right? When you have moon in Leo, your sun placement is where it affects that. So let's say you have, for example, you have sun in Virgo. Then what happens is your Leo, your desire, your soul's kind of like where you feel at home to be kind of be yourself, be in charge, be sort of like the show, sorry, the spotlight is on you. It becomes more anal. It becomes more perfectionist because of that Virgo sun. So yeah, and then it goes into Virgo itself. So if your moon is in Virgo, you definitely have this. You feel at home, you feel more relaxed. Your emotions are more technical. You become more analytical. Um, you become more, well, you tend to, rather. These are also habits. You tend to, yeah, perfect things. You want things to be clean. You want things to be organized. You want things to be in order. You like procedure. Um, the detail-oriented stuff also with that is that it's like Gemini, where there's a tie between the two. There's also a bit of youthfulness to it as well, except that's more with Gemini. Virgo has that, but it's more like, I want to do this way because I, for some reason, want to do it. It's a very practical sort of emotions to deal with that. So you tend to analyze emotions, similar to like any sort of like, Taurus doesn't really do that. Taurus doesn't really analyze the emotions; just feels it, just like, let's see what happens. It just, and it kind of trudges through life kind of slowly. Right? It's Taurus, it's slow. So the emotions are kind of slow. Maybe you don't get, it's kind of grounded actually. It grounds moon. That's why it's exalted in Taurus. Now we go into Libra. Moon in Libra people love relationships. They love being connected with people. They love also nature, just like Taurus as well. There's a similarity between the two. There's a harmony sort of desire, sort of the connection. And moon is also vibrations. Moon is also your sense of like, it's a sensation, it's the touch. So your body really is also connected to that, similar to Mars, except Mars is more body oriented, more like inner core down here. Moon is more like closer to the heart area, I would say, in terms of chakras, because the moon is your soul, it's where your heart speaks. Same with the sun, though. The sun is though all further up, further up, but more like the ego, right? The moon is a little bit less than that. The moon is not the ego. The moon is like your